You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because, well, at the end of the season, when you lose to the Lions, you think, okay, you made it to the divisional round. Baker Mayfield had a career-high year. There's no way in hell that Todd Bowles could be in jeopardy of losing his job. Except when you realize that Baker Mayfield's scheduled to be a free agent, and he just had career highs in passing yards, touchdowns, all these different categories, and you're staring down the barrel of losing your offensive coordinator. All right, Dave Canales is scheduled for a second interview with the Panthers. And now there's real fire here because they hired Dan Morgan as their general manager. And Dave Canales has a relationship with Dan Morgan, okay, with the Panthers. Now, you may be like, well, that's still a stretch. Is it? If you want to keep them together, I will remind you of something that happened years ago. In fact, January 7, 2016, this article was written. There's a wild theory for why the Buccaneers fired Lovie Smith after just 2 seasons. Now, in case anybody doesn't remember this, there was a lot of fire going around. Numerous NFL insiders have reported that the Buccaneers are likely to promote Dirk Cutter, their offensive coordinator, to head coach. Now, why did this happen, folks? Well, this happened because he was getting very close to either becoming the coach of the San Francisco 49ers or the more likely choice, Dirk Cutter, that is, the coach of the Miami Dolphins. They decided to keep him. Why did they decide to keep him? Because of Jameis Winston. All right? They wanted to keep Jameis Winston and that continuity with Dirk Cutter together. All right? Now, it ultimately didn't work out for either party. Jameis is a Saint. Probably going to end up being a Bronco. That's my gut feeling with Jameis. And now you got a situation where you're staring down the barrel of wanting to re-sign Baker Mayfield, which Todd Bowles has been very vocal about, but you're staring at the prospect of losing your offensive coordinator that just did such a really good job with Baker Mayfield. Now, you may be like, well, there's no way. They cannot get rid of Todd Bowles after coaching them, beating the hell out of the NFC champions. I mean, that's become a dumpster fire. They fired everybody but Nick Sirianni at this point. But then Todd Bowles came out and acknowledged something, and I did not even catch this. I should have. Something felt off about the end of that ball game the other day against the Lions. So enter in Joe Bucks fan. In Sunday's playoff game against the Bucks, the Lions took a knee on 3rd and 12 at Tampa Bay's 32-yard line with 36 seconds left. And the Bucks had a timeout in their pocket, trailing 31-23. And I sat there and I went, well, that's odd that they're not calling a timeout there. They're just folding. But I thought, okay, I mean, Todd Bowles must know what he's doing. I didn't do the math on a field goal at the time, but other people have. Bowles didn't call a timeout to force the Lions to attempt a 49 or 50-yard field goal on 4th down, or a punt, or a quarterback scramble throwaway to kill time off the clock. Bowles told the media Sunday immediately after the game that there was, quote, no sense in prolonging the obvious. That was an exact quote. And he referenced the Lions potentially lining up for a field goal. Okay, it was in a very emotional time, and Bowles hadn't watched the film yet. Perhaps he didn't realize the Bucs quit on the game when the outcome was still in doubt. In other words, let's be real. And yes, the The odds of making a 50-yard field goal are much greater than they were a decade ago. I think everybody gets that. But it's certainly not a chip shot by any stretch of the imagination. Don't believe me? Ask Buffalo. Ask Buffalo about field goals and missing them. Is this potentially a fireable offense? Quote, they were in field goal range, Bowles said of the Lions kneeling on third down at their 32-yard line. We'd had 12 seconds calculated after using that timeout to come back from it. Then we'd had been down 11 points, so it's kind of pointless. You kind of know when the game is over, the game is over. First of all, there's no guarantee that the Lions would have made the field goal or attempted a field goal, as Bowles laid out in response. Lions kicker Michael Badgley is not a long-range kicker. For his career, he's 42 of 61 on field goal tries of 40 yards or more. Jesus, he's got nearly 20 misses. And Badgley's missed a field goal attempt with 36 seconds remaining. The Bucs would have had the ball at their own 40-yard line with about 26 seconds remaining. Holy crap. I mean, this hasn't gotten enough play, folks. And I feel bad that I didn't catch this. If the Lions punted high and out of the end zone, the Bucs would have had the ball at the 20 with about 26 seconds remaining. The game was not over. Bowles quit. Ironically, offensive coordinator Dave Canales has praised Baker Mayfield multiple times, saying, quote, he has no quit. It says, Joe is 100% confident that if Bowles asked Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, or Levante David if the team should call a timeout and exhaust all opportunities to win, each would have screamed, timeout. Again, Joe understands Bowles' clock management mistake in an emotional moment, one that came after the Lions themselves lost track and took their 3 consecutive kneel-downs too quickly. But they do not start BSing fans about what happened. I don't know necessarily that Todd Bowles is BSing fans. But it certainly does raise a question about whether or not, A, that's a fireable offense. Is it? I don't know. Because you certainly feel like this team far outperformed any expectations. We've talked about that. Okay, this team was a 1-4 victory kind of team by all the prognosticators, right? Instead, they go out, they win their division, they stomp the shit out of the NFC champions that are in a mess, granted that, but nonetheless, they make it to the divisional round of the playoffs, and Baker Mayfield has a career year. But the only reason I'm bringing this up is, do you let Dave Canales walk as opposed to, if you know another team wants to hire him as a head coach, do you fire Todd Bowles and keep him on staff so you can hold offensive continuity and re-sign Baker Mayfield? Okay, because, Baker may decide to stay, but here he is having to deal with yet another offensive coordinator situation, right? Which is something he's had to deal with and obviously caused a bit of a downfall in his performance before this meteoric rise back up. What do you do here? I mean, do you lose Dave Canales and just hope you can keep the band together? Could losing Canales cause Baker to say, you know what, I'm going to the Raiders, I'm going to the Falcons, I'm going to the Steelers. To hell with this. If I've got to start all over at offensive coordinator, I might as well go to a different team. Do you feel like when you close your eyes, will Todd Bowles lead you to a Super Bowl? And look, I like Todd Bowles a lot. And after that game, I came out of that game thinking, yeah, it's a slam dunk. Todd Bowles is coming back. You can't not bring him back. But after finding out and realizing what happened at the end of that game and hearing it broke down, yeah, you've got to force the Lions to take a 50-yard field goal try there. Because if they miss, it's on. I mean, you got a chance to come back. If they miss that field goal, there's a real shot of being able to do something, at least take a couple of shots to the end zone. And obviously, it was messed up pretty badly. So what do? You know, my gut feeling is you keep Todd Bowles and you rock on, and you hope that Baker will re-sign. But this, you know, losing Canales could lead to losing Baker. And then you've got no quarterback and you've got no offensive coordinator. That is a recipe for a disastrous season next year. We know that. And then Todd Bowles is going to be fired anyway. That's something to think about. The Bucs have a decision, especially they've already done this allegedly or suspiciously. They got rid of Lovie Smith, and granted, Lovie's success wasn't what Todd Bowles has been. But nonetheless, they got rid of Lovie, who's from my hometown, and, you know, far as I'm concerned, Lovie should be a head coach of a team, lifetime contract. But I'm biased, okay? The fact is, you got rid of Lovie to promote Dirk Cutter, and that didn't work out, but you did it because of your quarterback, which makes some sense. You know, I say offensive coaching, yada, yada, yada. The problem is you had Jameis Winston. That's the wrong quarterback. Wow. It's a bombshell, kind of. Actually, it is a bombshell. Realizing that Todd Bowles messed up majorly, and then the idea that you're losing your offensive coordinator. Does that make the Glazers make a decision here? And your quarterback. The move to not keep Bowl, the move to let Bowl stay could cost you your offensive coordinator and your quarterback in theory. I don't know if I'm willing to do that. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.